Today we're talking about the April 9th, 2024 City Council meeting, and it was a long and winding but really interesting meeting. This is Council in 10. For the record, I'm Kelly Purse-Brassett.
And I'm Susan Grisham.
If this is your first time joining us, Council in 10 is our attempt to recap for you everything that happened at last night's City Council in under 10 minutes.
It's like Cliff's Notes for City Council.
In just a minute, Susan's going to hit the big gold button and we're going to start our 10-minute timer.
Have we figured out what happens if we don't get this done in 10 minutes?
No, but this may be the meeting where we find out. Okay. We should get started. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, hit that button.
Okay, so first, we start the meeting with our usual roll call and announcements and approval of agenda. Everyone was present last night, but Councilmember Gilman was on zooming in from DC, so it was a pretty late hour for him. And then we moved on. There were no announcements, regular old approval of agenda, and then we moved on to item 2A, which was special recognition honoring the outgoing members of advisory boards, committees, and commissions.
So about a year ago, we created a program where we officially recognize and honor the members of our council-appointed boards, committees, and commissions who are stepping away from their service to the city after completing their terms. You know, right now we have about 95 community members across 12 advisory boards who are engaging with our city staff around priorities and giving advice and feedback to council. Tonight, or last night, we honored 22 of those members who had completed their appointed terms. The other kind of thing we did, and we just started it this year, is the mayor honored 3 particular members of advisory committees who had served over a decade for the city. And is honoring them with a mayor's coin. And those folks are Carol Richmond from the Planning Commission, who had served 11 years, Holly Davies from the Heritage Commission, who had served 15 years, and Joseph Laval, who had served on the Design Review Board for 13 years. So this evening was a pretty heavy advisory committee focused meeting, and you're going to learn a little bit more about that in our consent calendar as well.
Yes, and then we moved on to our second special recognition item, which was a proclamation recognizing Earth Month. So we had some special guests from the Marshall Middle School Citizen Science Institute. I had to read that one out because it's a bit of a mouthful, to share some of their restoration projects, including their work to restore Cooper Crest Clearcut area, their support of the Grass Lake Nature Preserve, and their native plant nursery, along with other projects that they're doing in and around their school. It was really inspiring to see these young folks picking up the mantle of Earth Month, but and also taking care of the ecosystem in Olympia.
Yeah, they're really impressive group of young folks. If you're worried about the future, don't be. They were pretty cool. When I was in middle school, I was planning my wedding to Michael Jackson, and they're not doing that. So I feel a lot safer with them in charge.
And then we had Dave Sederberg from Earthbound Productions come and speak, and he was actually the person who in Olympia was able to change Earth Day to Earth Month, and he's responsible for all the cool Earth flags that you see all around town. He said a couple of words about just the history of Earth Month in Olympia. It was a really nice moment.
It was. Happy Earth Month, Olympia.
Yes. Then we moved on to the consent calendar.
I can say at least 13 items, because I helped put them on there, was regarding the advisory committee appointment process and reappointment process, the Community Livability and Public Safety Committee, which is a kind of a subcommittee of the council, opens recruitment in October for advisory committees. They got about 64 applications. There were about 31 vacancies across 11 advisory bodies. Over 3 nights, 2 in March, 1 in April, the committee met well into the evening and interviewed 43 community members. And they recommended 24 candidates who were appointed last night by the full council to vacancies on 11 bodies. They also, last night, recommended 17 currently serving members of the advisory committee, boards and commissions for reappointment. So those folks were reappointed last night. The other advisory committee related item on the consent calendar was an approval of the advisory committee's work plan. So all those bodies submitted work plans for the full council to review and approve for 2024. So it's pretty special big night for advisory committees. If you're interested in serving on advisory committee, it's a really cool way to engage with the community, have some say in the future, and really take part and be part of the shaping the course of the city. You can apply for advisory committees. We open those in October. We close it in December, and we welcome the service of our community members on those. So keep an eye out for those.
So next up, we moved on to other business, which was a very meaty couple of items. So the first item was approval of an ordinance amending Olympia Municipal Code related to relocation assistance and renter protections.
So this was a follow-on from the March 19th public hearing. We did a council intent on that with an overtime with the staff member, Krista Lenson. So you can learn more about that if you check that council intent out. But this also was a really deep discussion with council balancing the need for support for tenants in a city like Olympia that is majority renter, and balancing that with how those changes will impact landlords. So good discussion.
Yeah, and through that discussion, they did pass the ordinance, but they made several amendments. The first is requiring landlords to provide tenants at the time of lease signing with a letter written by the city that identifies the rights of renters and who to contact if they feel those rights have been violated. To add to the definition of family, aunt, uncle, and family by adoption, increasing the timeline for breaking a lease upon a notice of 5% or more rent increase from 20 days to 30 days, adjusting the threshold for economic displacement relocation assistance to 7% over a 12-month period at a 2.5 months of rent for assistance amount. Eliminate the 10% threshold for economic displacement relocation assistance, and also direct staff to further explore a pilot project for lease-to-own arrangements that would exempt these policies.
And all these are in keeping with the council has been working on renter protection issues for quite some time. So this is just a continuation of some work they've been doing over the years.
So next, we moved on to approval of an ordinance amending Olympia Municipal Code related to commercial districts to allow drive-throughs and mixed-use developments along downtown corridors. In this case, we're talking about Plum Street.
Right. And again, another robust council conversation translates into long, but it was a thorough conversation. And an interesting conversation because they were really wrestling with issues around transportation planning, around support for local businesses, about the need for more housing, about the importance of meeting our climate goals. They kind of made a commitment, expressed a desire. Basically, they're going to have a deeper conversation in the future around sub-area planning for that area, which that's important. And they decided they were not going to move forward with the proposal.
Yeah. And so then, because of the late hour, we were after 10 o'clock at this point, Mayor Payne decided to forego reports for the evening, and we were grateful, very much so, and he adjourned the meeting.
Yes, there you go.
And we were adjourned.
I don't know how we managed that. It was a little panicky at the end, but we managed to get it in under 10.
That's 3 in a row. We're getting pretty good at this.
All right. there we go. So, well, thank you for joining us. If you're watching us live, you can stay tuned, and the full replay of the council meeting we just talked about is going to follow this wonderful little conversation we're having here. Or you can watch it or any of our other programming on demand anytime on OLETV3.com.
And if you want to watch a council meeting, come hang out with us live and in person. We are here most Tuesdays at City Hall at 6 p.m.
And we'll save a seat for you.
And with that,
we're adjourned.
woo!